I would like to talk to parents. I would like to talk to students. Now, to parents, this is a statement of facts. We tend to protect our children. We tend to cover them when they are in shady things. We should try and let our children, our words, know when they are wrong. Do not pat that child at the back when he's done something wrong. Always ensure that you know the kind of company your child keeps. And for crying out loud, why would you have a child in a university, for example, and the child comes with friends and you don't even know who the parents of such people are? Why do you allow your children, your wards, to bring in friends that you don't know where they come from? Why do you allow them to stay in your house without actually trying to get to know their parents? You, the parents, you have failed the nation. The kind of criminals we have in our midst today are not children from the downtrodden. That is the truth. They're children from well-to-do homes. Gone are the days when we think the area boys are the perpetrators of violent crime. And for students, well, it's your future, it's your life. If you choose that autism is the way, best luck. But let me tell you, the Nigeria that we would have in the next 15-20 years is not the Nigeria that you would survive in if you don't retrace your step. And for you, that lady, that girl who thinks that getting involved in prostitution, traveling abroad, you think that the streets of Italy is paved with gold, with dollars, and when you get there you begin to pick gold or dollars, you better think twice. There is no gold or dollars on the streets of anywhere in the world. If you believe in yourself, you can make it in Nigeria.
Well, first of all, before I even say anything about the assessment, I want to congratulate the management and staff of Crime Fighters on the anniversary, the third-year anniversary. I think within so short a time, they have performed wonderfully well. They have disseminated a lot of information to the members of the public, information which people wouldn't have heard before. They have served as the mouthpiece of the Nigeria Police Force. Because in the past, not many of our news, many of our programs were carried by the newspapers or the television because of limited space. But with the coming in of Crime Fighters, I think a lot has been achieved. So I congratulate them. I also thank them for that, and I want them to continue. The sky is their limit, because I see Crime Fighters moving higher and higher.
That program has brought about, change. That program has brought about, people being conscious of their environment in terms of security to life and properties. The program has also woken up other organizations that are sleeping. I know, for instance, that Nigerian Port Authority has actually initiated a program. I'm also aware that Nigerian Customs Service has initiated a program called Custom Duty, a Call to Service. I would rather say that the Crime Fighters is setting a precedence in Nigeria.
It's been a tremendous assistance to the police-community relations. Nobody can quantify your contribution to the sustenance or the understanding by the police and also by the civil society, the relationship that should exist. I think you have done very well.
Do your research to get that deep. I don't know where you got it from. Fighting crime is work of God. I wish you to continue in that light. Joining the police to fight crime, I think, is the most interesting and the most charitable thing any human being would want to do. I say God bless you as you continue to fight crime with the police. Up you go.
Before I was surprised. I never knew the crime fighters, they do such a very good job. I think that was very interesting. In fact, since The first time it was aired, I became a friend of crime fighters. I don't miss the program.
It's a very fine program. You people, you are doing a very good work as far as that program is concerned. Doing a very good work because our society just need to rid our society of criminals, and I see your program as working towards that direction. So it's a very good educative program.
I wish I have something to offer because they're really doing great. Well, I wish them more grease to the elbow.
They are doing a good job. That's an avenue which they do make use of it to expose how the criminal operate and all those stuff. To my own idea, I like what they are doing.
And crime fighters makes us to know what is really happening in the country, and it encourages youth to keep off from crimes and robbery.
It has really helped us in so many ways, just to decrease crime in our country.
I want to tell the Nigerian public that this is one of the best things that have ever happened, to the program of fighting crime in Nigeria. It is a program that will educate you on how to relate with the police.
I am Godi Efejuku, Superintendent of Police, attached to Police College, Ikeja. Casting news for crime fighters has been quite exciting and stimulating. We'll work harder to give all our best because we think the best is yet to come from it. And very shortly, viewers will begin to see the best side of it. There wasn't much difference during my first appearance on television and what it is now, casting news. Being exposed all along in the Nigeria Police Force has given me, I've beaten stage fright before I came to crime fighters. So there wasn't much difference. Well, I've had mixed experiences so far. Like initially when we started, there were so many calls to the studio, to the management. Now don't go bring one man. Now wear our uniforms in our police. The man is not a police officer, he's a newscaster, he's a professional, he's a journalist. But we got over that. Eventually they came to understand that all of us on the cast, we are all police officers and NDLA officers, and we've been getting on so far. Like there's one particular experience in my church, St. Leo Ikeja. I was leaving the church one morning and then a group of people just came on me and said, this is not the guy for news, crime fighters, newscaster. I said, yes, thank you very much, sir, thank you. And it became almost a weekly affair, crowd pull around me when I leave and things like that. I'm used to that now.
Deputy Superintendent of Police Hope Nwejiofor Okafor of the Central Motor Registry, Force Headquarters Annex, Kamsalem House, Lagos. Casting news on crime fighters has been very exciting. It's been a very wonderful experience, very worthwhile. I mean, with the exposure to people and knowing more and more every day about television production. My first presentation of news on crime fighters program was, to be candid, uneventful, because before that time I'd beaten anything you could call stage fright. My experiences can be, let's call it a potpourri if you want, a cocktail sort of, all sorts. Let's start from, there was a day I went to Yugo. I was really starving, so I felt like eating something. I bought this apple, washed it up there, 1-2 bites, and there was a crowd around me. I had no hiding place. I couldn't even, get into my car. So I was like wondering. I thought I was going to be mobbed. Then somebody now shouted, "Crime fighters." I had to smile, and even though I was still starving, I hit the apple, ran into my car, and left. On another note, I get commendations and support, tacit support from my family, especially my husband. At times he calls and says, "Yeah, I watched you in Canada. I don't believe this." And a friend of his called from Europe and said he watched Crime Fighters and he saw the wife. So I'm like, oh, so I'm now, this one is no longer local, international,
Deputy Superintendent of Narcotics Obutulu Akbasi of the Special Area Command Muritala Mohammed International Airport, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Casting news on crime fighters has been quite entertaining for me in that it gives me the opportunity to educate the public on the ills of drug trafficking and drug abuse. With my continuous stay in Crime Fighters, I hope to reduce the crime rate in drug trafficking in Nigeria. My first presentation on Crime Fighters was okay in that I am a graduate of journalism and mass communication, and facing the camera has been something I've been through since my teenage days. But when I had to come to cast news in Crime Fighters, I hadn't done it for 10 years. So I was saying, wow, what will I really look like this time around after 10 years? My experience with casting in Crime Fighters is just that primarily I get a lot of commendations from my colleagues, friends, and well-wishers. And I discovered that my name is fading away fast from Ubud to Crime Fighters. And then my second experience was that I had a car breakdown along Maryland, and while the mechanic was fixing the car, road safety came to her vehicle. And the other guy said, "You look well. You go report you for Crime Fighter. You're on your own, left family go."
Deputy Superintendent of Narcotics, Peter Onche Odaudu, Lagos State Command, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Still news on Crime Fighters was one window of opportunity, and it has challenged me, and I'm not resting on my oars until I'm able to give up my best. Well, the first time I cast news on the Crime Fighters, naturally I felt little butterflies on the inside of me, but I did not think that it degenerated to the point where adrenaline was pumping. At least I didn't have to get up to go and ease myself. But I remember though that a member of the production crew poked fun at me and said I was too serious the way I was looking at the camera. But then two things helped me to get over the initial fright. First, my background as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I often have to face members of my congregation to preach. And then secondly, I was really encouraged by the police officer I read the news with on that same day. He said, you'll be okay, it's just okay, just this, and so on and so on. And eventually we got over it. Well, I am the youngest member of the Crime Fighters Newscasters crew. But even at that, I have something that I must say. My other half, my wife, said to me, all my colleagues say they saw you, all my friends say they saw you on TV. She might have intended that it was in jest, but I did decipher an undertone of earnestness in it. She said, you're becoming too popular. And I said to her, well, you want me not to do my job? She said, no, she didn't mean that. She didn't mean that. But I said, well, there's no cause for alarm. And we just laughed over it.
Inspector Justin Obara, attached to Criminal Intelligence Bureau, Zone 2 Command Headquarters, Lagos. It's a kind of challenging task, at least giving me an opportunity to diversify into another field of broadcasting outside my crime job. To me, the first day was, I was so nervous, to be sincere to you. I was so nervous, but thank God, the Via Communication Production crew members here, they're at home with us, even with our mistakes. But I thank God today that I've overcome it, and as far as I'm concerned, my best is yet to come. Mine is more of a commendation from friends and well-wishers and the organization I belong to. Now people will see me and say, Tina, how is it? I saw you the other day, please keep it up. I will say thank you. But another way is my children, they will now go back to their school and say, oh, my mom is reading so thing, please watch her. Then by the time they get back to house, they will say, mommy, how much my schoolmates, they saw you and say, mommy, your mommy is doing fine. Oh.
I am Inspector Agboilemi, attached to the Criminal Investigation Department, Zone 2 Headquarters, Lagos. Really, casting news for crime factors have been quite enthralling and encouraging. It has actually exposed me to members of the public beyond my imagination. I'm sure with a continual stay here, my best is yet to come out. Really, by the time I saw the camera and saw myself, the stage fright came in. I couldn't really comport myself, but with the directives from those who actually coordinated the program was a blend. I can say assuredly that my start compared to what it is today have been quite a remarkable difference. Casting news for crime fighters have been an experience that I would think has a double-edged sword like implications. First, there was this program I watched on the NTA Hafa. The guys were trying to be funny. In fact, it's as if they were kind of mimicking the crime fighters. One of the actors just told the guy, why are you too serious like a crime fighters? Really, it was a message to me. I felt maybe the way we cast is much of a seriousness, militarism attached to our casting. And I actually felt there was a need to put life, put flesh to my casting. And since then, actually, it's been quite rewarding trying to put up kind of a merrymaking to casting news. Also, there was this occasion my wife had to be in Port Harcourt for a wedding, and when she got it, look at the wife of that man, you know him, the one on crime fighters. I mean, I'm talking about people from my village.
My name is Inspector Callistus Chinedu. He was attached to Nigeria Police Public Relations Department, Abuja. The crime fighters beat has been very challenging. It's a new area of engagement for me being a police officer. Part of the experiences I've had being a newscaster on crime fighters is that people see you, sometimes they see you as an actor. They don't really see you as a policeman. They see it as another Area C program. But when they now see actually that those confessions, those other things that are shown on Crime Fighter are real, they begin to believe you. The time I went on air or I stood before the camera, naturally the stage fright will come in, but all the same, that natural endowment in you will always come to focus. And I saw it as a very interesting experience. I was always looking up to the day the program would come on air. And my wife was due, her pregnancy was due, and I came to work and I was told that we were to travel to Jigawa State, we were to tour some northern states. And I knew my wife was due the next day. And the director just told me to go home and get set. Well, I knew the nature of the crime fighters assignment. I had to go home. Told my wife that I was traveling. In fact, what we did that night was that we started praying that my wife should put to bed that night before the expected time of the delivery. But eventually, God didn't want it that way. I traveled to Jigawa and then Kano and all some of the other northern states we visited. We spent about 4 days, and I was always on phone monitoring my wife's pregnancy. The day we came back to Lagos, we were on the way, we left Kano very late. We got to somewhere around the lorry, we had to pass the night. I told my production manager then, Wolabi Odeshola, I told him that my wife is due to deliver tomorrow. He said, how do you know? How are you too sure? We eventually got to Lagos that Friday, June 15th, and that was the day my wife had the baby.
I am Sergeant Tilio Ikoro from Police Mobile Force, 43 Squadron, Lion Building, Lagos. Casting news for crime fighters has been one blessing to me. First, it has allowed me to to expunge the potential of a broadcaster that is inside of me. And I think if given another opportunity, I keep doing it because I find it very good.
I am Sergeant Christiana Okorobo, attached to the Nigerian Police Pension Office. Well, it's been interesting to be a newscaster, and it's another field of learning. And I thank God I've been a newscaster, something I've not been before, and I learned from it. It wasn't easy really, because facing the camera is not an easy thing. First of all, you have to fidget no matter what. But I summoned courage, and I was able to do it. Well, what will I say? It has given me a lot of exposure, and before I got married, many suitors, and later I decided to select the person I want. But up till now, my husband is even still afraid that you shouldn't go to that studio again, since people are admiring you, and I don't want that to. I don't have power to fight anybody. But I had to tell my husband that there's no problem. I've been having a lot of suitors there, and it's you I decided to marry. Well, the experience has been wonderful, really.
Are you leading a life worthy of emulation by your words? Do you care to find out what they do in your absence? If you know it or not, they will take over from you in future. Are you preparing them to be worthy citizens or criminals, cult members, prostitutes? It's worthwhile to give your words the attention they need now while you can, before it is too late. This has been a message from the Nigerian Police Force.
I am Mike Chedo Semeke, and I'm a researcher with Crime Fighters. Since I joined the crew of Crime Fighters a little over a year ago, it's been one exciting adventure. Exciting in the sense that Crime Fighters has afforded me the opportunity to travel around the country in so short a period. I have met people, different kinds of people. I've met policymakers, people who shape and reshape the destiny of this country. It has made me a much more detribalized Nigerian. The only snag there is not being able to spend enough time with my wife Esther and my daughter Isioma. But hopefully, I pray I'll be able to make it up to them this Christmas.
My name is Yemi Tosa. I work with Crime Fighters as a cameraman, audiovisual mixer, and name it. I love the job anyway. Undermining the constraint and sometimes the short time notice. Maybe you could be in your house relaxing on Sundays, and then there could be a phone call that you have to come to the command, or something has happened, and so on and so forth. Also, the traveling, maybe within a short notice, maybe you just come to the office with a shirt and trouser, and then that very morning you're asked to travel. Maybe you go to Abuja or one other place, something is happening there. In a nutshell, I think it's a worthwhile working with Crime Fighters, and sincerely speaking, I really enjoy the job.
I am Ben Eitemi, the editor of Crime Fighters. My experience with Crime Fighters is a long one, but time will not permit me to say it all. It has been rough, it has been not easy all this while, because the job is tasking, especially when it comes to editing. But the most tasking one is the area of editing. When it comes to editing of criminal, that is the visuals, there are some ugly sights that one wouldn't love to see. But you don't have option. As an editor, you just have to do it so that the job will go.
I am Cornelius Eromosele Oiko, the productions manager of Crime Fighters. Since I joined the organization, it has been quite an experience. The stress, the travelings, the strange working hours, just to get these materials across to you. You have situation whereby you know when you resume in the morning, but you don't know when you close. And you can afford to stay here for days trying to get this program put together. And at times you come in and you are told to travel, you have no choice. And you have cause to travel through strange roads. At times, late in the night, even though one would have loved to avoid it, but just to get this program across to you, we have no choice. But all in all, it's quite a rewarding experience, and nothing gives me more joy than to know that people who watch this actually learn something.
My name is Obot Etukwa. I am the Director of Photography, Crime Fighters. It's been a hectic assignment working with crime fighters, working 7 days a week, sleeping in the studios. But I thank God for His mercies, and I bet you our best is yet to come.